From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your morning update.
The heart-pounding excitement of the Reading Rodeo is back, bucking by the river. Join us May 15th to the 18th for 4 unforgettable nights of heart-pounding action with family fun and the unrivaled thrill of rodeo. Tickets are available now exclusively at readingrodeo.com. Mark your calendars for May 15th to the 18th and ensure you're part of the action. Visit readingrodeo.com today so you don't miss out.
Well, of course, last night was the first rodeo. Tonight is the second rodeo. And Friday and Saturday is sold out, by the way. So if you're looking to get in there on those dates and you haven't gotten your tickets already, unfortunately, you're out of luck. However, if you still want to go check it out tonight, Thursday is available. Go to readingrodeo.com to reserve those tickets now, because before you know it, they will be sold out. Now, if you're heading out to the rodeo tonight, not as hot as it was yesterday. You know, we did get into the upper 90s for many of us in the valley yesterday, but as we look at those temperatures, they're going to start to really kind of drop. But it's still going to be pretty hot out there, around 90 degrees as the gates open, upper 80s once we kind of get that event started, mid 80s by 8 o'clock. As we get closer to the end, we're in the mid to upper 70s. So it looks like things will get a little bit more pleasant once that sun does decide to set. Here's your headlines. Not as warm over the next few days. Now, we do have a cooling trend as we approach the weekend, but highs will be much closer to normal by next week, with mountain showers possible near the middle of next week. Here's your neighborhood forecast at a glance. Now, notice the valley and Trinity County are around 90. Now, there's a bit of a delta breeze today. It's going to be strongest to the south, but we are going to feel the impacts in the valley. One thing to remember, the delta breeze does not impact the mountains. So sometimes we can have the temperatures about the same, or even sometimes warmer in the mountains than the valley, depending on just how strong that delta breeze is. But you can see temperatures across the board, really mainly for the valley, going to be much cooler. Some of the mountain locations will actually be a little bit warmer than it was yesterday, but then we're going to see a nice drop in our temperatures. Now, you may recall me talking about higher fire danger yesterday. Unfortunately, we had our first significant fire of the season. It's called the ranch fire. And you can see here's the ranch fire right here. This is coming in from Watch Duty, by the way, a great resource to find out more about fires. But I want to talk about this ranch fire here because, again, we did see very dry conditions out there, and that's one of the contributing factors. And the heat is another contributing factor. Once you have the heat, that really does help to dry things out, especially when we did see that dry north wind throughout the day. So the fire started, and as of right now, last report, it's calling that all evacuation warnings have all been lifted, which is very good news. And the last report coming in was about 7 hours ago. So now I'm going to take you to a little bit closer image here. So again, you can kind of see this is the Big Bend area north of Lake Oroville. There you can see the main fire right here. Now, there are a lot of other spot fires that eventually did start. After the main fire started, we started to see these spot fires develop here to the basically northwest of the main fire. By the way, this is a power outage. Not exactly sure if that's still the case now, but that's kind of the idea here. So that's kind of what's going on as far as the latest fire perimeters coming out of that. Now, we're also tracking what the CAL FIRE Butte County is doing here, CAL FIRE and Butte County Fire Department. We take a look at the fact sheet. The latest fact sheet coming in, this was from last night, so this was 5:15. Last night at about 11:30, as a matter of fact. So it's known as the ranch fire, and the latest report is that it was 20 acres at 20% containment. So as of the last report, it actually is not contained. But I would be willing to guess, based on what we're seeing here, and I want to show you a time lapse of what we're looking at here, and you can clearly see here the fire. So again, this is the main fire right here, and then you did see kind of to the left here some smaller spot fires. Kind of hard because the camera's moving around, but you can see, look, see how we're seeing it get less and less active. We're seeing less of those flashes, indicating that we're not seeing those hot spots out there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the latest image, and here we go right there. Now, just about an hour ago, and I was looking at this, there was one little spot right here that was glowing just a little bit. That is no longer the case right now. So that is, again, a very good sign that we are seeing improving conditions. So again, as of the latest report, 20% contained, but I'd be willing to guess that as we go through the morning hours, that is going to be updated to probably even close to 100% contained. We'll see. I want to remind you that there is a fire section on weathernorcal.com. It is a great resource. So you click on that fire danger image there, and then it actually takes you up to watch duty. So there you can see as we go, and this is coming in from the Weather NorCal website. It takes you into the fire page here and it's showing you where the ranch fire is. Now, if you keep scrolling down, just kind of explore it. You'll see there's a lot of great resources here. Just a lot of information coming on in, significant fire potential, the works here. So again, go to weathernorcal.com and then click on the fire section. It's a nice one-stop shop for you to find out where all of the latest fires are. All right, enough of the ranch fire. I just wanted to kind of give you the latest on that. So now the next question is, what does that mean for our fire danger today? Well, the good news is, notice where the winds are coming from. They're coming in from the south. That is not the dry, warm air that we typically see during the summer. So that's good. Humidity levels are still going to be rather low, but not as low as they were yesterday. But with that south wind, that should help. It won't be nearly as hot. It'll be about 10 degrees cooler in many cases here for the valley, maybe even more than that some spots. We see some good recovery for Friday morning. Now the winds will shift more from the north again coming into your Friday. Unfortunately, that could increase the fire danger a little bit here, and you'll see that in a second. And then on Saturday, still a bit of that north wind, still dry. But one thing to keep in mind is temperatures aren't going to be as hot as they were yesterday. So we look at the fire weather risk today, right, through 4 p.m., we're mainly in the green and just the light shades of yellow, so indicating we're kind of in that low, just approaching that moderate stage here. So again, that south wind is really helping here, and that's going to really help to contribute to that. Not to mention the fact that it's not going to be quite as hot. Now, as we go into Friday, you saw those north winds and drier conditions. Unfortunately, that does put us in that moderate to even high range. So once again, we've got to be on the lookout for that. Now, I don't anticipate the winds to be as strong on Friday as they were yesterday, but again, it will be dry, but not as hot. So again, we just kind of something to kind of think and put in the back of your mind as you're going throughout your daily routine. All right, we do have that ridge of high pressure, which is still in place. It's actually expanding a little bit stronger for Northern California, and that's going to increase the temperatures a little bit for the mountains. But again, with that south delta breeze a little bit for the valley, that's going to actually drop those temperatures. So you can see a nice marine layer along the coast. Unfortunately, it is creating some of that low clouds for places like Eureka and most of Humboldt County. Looks like Delaware County may see a little bit of clearing here for this afternoon and for a good portion of the day as well. Now, as we take you into your Friday, once again, looks like we're still seeing some of that fog persist in some areas here of the north coast. Otherwise, mainly clear skies across most of Northern California. There's Friday afternoon. Again, just a few light clouds, a little bit of not very dense fog, some light fog as we go into your Friday night and not to mention your Saturday. But again, keep in mind, it's going to be dry. So here's the big picture here. Here's the ridge of high pressure, and we're beginning to see signs of it flattening. Instead of this nice arc that we've seen, we're seeing it flatten out. Why? Because we've got these storm systems right here that are riding over that ridge, suppressing the heat. Our temperatures drop as a result. It pushes that heat to the south and west. And this is the same song and dance I've been doing all week long, right? Because this is just fairly consistent with the one storm after another. Now, by the time we get into Sunday, we're going to see that cooler air really begin to move on in. But then by Monday, some warmer air moves in from the west. However, it's not going to move in that much farther, because by the time we get into the middle of next week, this area of low pressure dives down to the south. This is a stronger push of colder air, and this is when we expect to see temperatures really drop significantly by the time we get into the middle of next week. And looking at the Climate Prediction Center's temperature outlook, it does put us in that cooler than normal category. All right, we'll take it, right? So yesterday, that was the peak. We're done with that for now, and we're going to see temperatures begin to drop, and we're going to notice it today. But there you can see your wave heights as we go into this afternoon. Now we're going to take you into Friday. You see how they're actually increasing a little bit. Now, as a result, when we look at the marine forecast, you'll see that there is a hazardous seas warning for the area. So we do need to be aware of that if you do need to be out on a small boat. All right, here's your Trinity County neighborhood forecast. Those temperatures are going to be in the low 90s. So again, it's going to be a little bit warmer than it was yesterday. Look for a high of 60 for Eureka, 70 degrees in Honeydew, 63 degrees out in Shelter Cove. We take you up north, 73 for Smith River, 64 degrees for Oric, 87 out in Hoopa. And we take you out to Siskiyou County, where we got those temperatures in the mid-80s, give or take. Some of the warmer spots like Happy Camp at 90, but then cooler out towards McDowell, Doris, and Tennant in the upper 70s. We take a look at Modoc County. Temperatures will be in the low 80s. Again, a little bit warmer than it was yesterday. 81 degrees for Tule Lake, 79 degrees for Aden. Here's your Eastern Mountains neighborhood forecast, mainly in the 80s. You can see about 89 degrees for Quincy, Susanville 87, 82 degrees out in Shingletown, and Paradise about 82 degrees. In your Valley neighborhood forecast, brought to you by NorCal Tractor. Yeah, I mean, some of us could even dodge the 90-degree mark. You know, when you think about the hottest day of the year was yesterday so far, right? Now we're, barely hitting that 90-degree mark for most of us in the valley. So it is going to be significantly cooler. Let's take a look at that 7-day outlook for Redding. And there you can see, of course, for the rodeo, temperatures low 90s. Not as hot as it was yesterday. But we're back down to the 80s by Sunday, Monday, low to mid 80s by Tuesday and Wednesday of next week.